Will we see interest rate hikes next month? Let's have a look. Good evening, everyone. Florian here, and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. Grab your hashtag not sponsored cheap coffee, and let's check out an article which is discussing the prospect of interest rate hikes next month. But before we jump to that, let me just bring up over here the poll I put up for the viewers 2 days ago. We got 2,000 votes. That's equivalent to, well, frankly, some of the survey numbers that are used to generate headlines for a lot of articles that we see around the place, a lot of the news. 78% of the financial gigachads that watch the channel think we will have a cash rate increase next month, while only 22% say no, we will not. So that's either holding or decreasing. I don't think anyone would really imagine it's going to decrease. Let's have a look here. This is the ASX Rate Tracker, and let me shrink this a little bit there so we can see it. There we go. Beautiful. And we're sitting at, as of the 27th, which was yesterday, a 47% chance of it increasing to 4.35%, but still 53% or prediction of it having no change. I mean, there you go. Increase to 4.35. That still isn't. That seems like a lot because we've been anchored at 0.1 for so long. That's why these 4% rates seem like a lot. But if we had gone back a decade before, it wouldn't have. And this is what we need to understand whenever we're seeing any articles, anything in the news discussing property rocketing, property crashing. It's your time frame. Right now, all these gold bugs are salivating at the prospect of gold shooting up. And I'm thinking it was close to this recently, wasn't it? But then again, I'm looking at USD. So there you go. We just need to keep an eye and have perspective from your time frame. So let's jump here and have a look at some of the comments. We'll go for the newest first. So Vlad, payback interest rate hike for the failed voice. Ouch, I hope not. Grant is going, g'day, guys. You're going to see relatively flat, maybe a bit lower inflation until the second quarter of next year. The RBA, Fed, IMF, etc. are touting inflation is under control. Wasn't it just meant to be transitory? Remember that? Then off again. Interest rates will reflect this move higher. Socialists have been appointed to the RBA bank, BYOB. Be your own bank. Go back to cash. Get your money out of their system. Even if you're with cash, your money isn't out of the system. They can always, if they want to, have a negative. Well, here was a theory put forward for having a negative interest rate or a negative cash rate, essentially. To stop people just hoarding cash physically, they would have a exchange rate between physical dollars and real dollars, and then they'd use that to decrease the value of your money. So say if there was a negative 2% per annum cash rate, what they would do is that the exchange rate from physical dollars to digital dollars would, well, go down by 2% every year or every period that was. So, yeah, I mean, it's easy to say, but I mean, hoarding piles of cash has a lot of risk. Someone can nick it. Okay, someone can come in, break in your house, some crazed up bloody druggy idiot, and what do they want? They want cash. Instantly, then it's gone. Let's have a look here. 3-tour veteran. The ones who will suffer the most are the renters. Houses always win. Well, it's the Australian way. Andrew is reminding us that Trading Economics reckons it'll hold at 4.1%. Let's bring that up and see if that's changed since he wrote that comment. Trading Economics. What do we got here? We want indicators for countries. Don't I? Countries. Australia. Come on. She'll be right, mate. What do we want? We want the cash rate target. Where's the cash rate target? Let me know in the chat when you see it. Come on. Australia, yeah. Under housing? No, housing approvals overall. Interest rate, okay. So if we scroll down here, and you can see this for any country, guys. This is a website you can all go to. Okay, so it's the trading economic forecast is staying at 4.1%. You can see the previous predictions, the consensus, what previously was and what actually is. So they're predicting it to stay flat. The 78% have jinxed it. Borrowers should just set up a direct debit to Savers bank account. It'll be quicker. Of course, I'll predict on the Martin's Mike in the Night podcast show that 5% interest rates is on the horizon at the start of 2024, Jan Feb. We'll have to see. I don't think we'll hit 5%. Honestly, I do not think. And, well, this is going to be the first. I mean, here's the thing. Could we be seeing a new CEO maneuver by the new Reserve Bank governor? With a possible double-digit interest rate? Nah, we're not going to see double-digit interest rates. You can hope, mate. You can hope, but we'll. I think there's a bit of dream in there. They usually sneak it in for November when the Melbourne Cup is running, whilst everyone is looking the other way. Oh, got to put a bet on the Cup. No way is there any more hikes. Next move is down, according to Trolley Collector. Rate rise, happy Melbourne Cup day. F the rate rise. Wouldn't mind a pay rise, lol. Oh, well, Barry, mate. Ask for one. If they're not going to give it to you, get another job. It depends on the sector you're in. There's work out there. There's a shitload of work out there. This is the thing. You just got to find a skill that's in demand. And then again, I'm getting recruiters contacting me all the time where they've got architects looking for work. So what can that say? Although we're flat out. A quarter point as the 2-year is 4.37. All the banks should pass on the full rate on term deposits. Yeah, they should. Because the grubs, blood for the blood gods. Talking about the Israel war. Who cares? It's all one big joke anyway. If things were normal, we would have rates higher than the US. Why? Why would we have rates higher than the US? Our dollar isn't as strong as their currency. Ours is a proxy for the Chinese economy too. The Australian economy is stuffed. Is it? I mean, here's the thing we're hearing. I think it depends on on a few things, on what media you expose yourself to. Because I'm seeing in the comments, people are predicting the economy is going to collapse, all this and the other. And I've been seeing the same shit for years. And I've become quite jaded with it all, particularly with the social media and the YouTube, space of economic predictors, people predicting the future or forecasting what's going to happen. I try to understand why a lot of these forecasts of property collapsing that the media was putting out there, I'm trying to understand why it didn't occur. I believe now I've got a bit of an appreciation of how the media play the game, why they do it, the financial incentives that are in place, how they will just take a far-out study from the RBA, then put it all over the headlines and play it up because it gets the views, it gets the attention. Because we're hardwired to look for negative things. We're hardwired to be obsessed with property. That's in our Australian DNA. I think it's the sunlight reflecting off Ayers Rock, is bouncing off Mount Warning, that affects all our DNA, so we're obsessed with houses. It's science. I never made it up Ayers Rock. Climb Mount Warning, though, that was a phenomenal experience, actually, the sunrise there. Kind of sucks now that you can't do that, eh? Gotta love the future. But my point being is that if you expose yourself to the constant barrage of negative predictions, that could lend to a bias. And that's why I asked another poll, what's the half-life of a negative prediction? Of a doomer prediction? How long is it? Are they wrong after 1 year? After 2 years? These people are constantly warning you and putting this content out there just to warn you because they care about you. They don't give a shit about you. It's to generate money and clicks. There's a huge market in economic fear porn on YouTube for the US market. And they're a valuable commodity. You advertise to them, you get 10 times the ad revenue compared to like a typical gamer channel or something like that. It's a joke. So I mean, keep that in mind. Anyway, back on topic. Finally, some decent interest on his savings. Did an economist on ABC, they expect 2 rate rises in the next 6 months. Media is prepping the peons. Probably not. Australia is drunk on free money. They can't. Will collapse the economy. I don't think it would. Honestly, going to 4.35 or 4.35 or even 4.5, it wouldn't collapse the economy. Not at all. I actually thought they may be done, or maybe, but I've changed my prediction in at least 2, maybe 3. Not that I think any of it will make a difference. Even last year, we would have seen stagflation. The vote for the voice is over. Now the rates go up. Should they? Yes. Will they? No. I think some people are thinking we're getting, what's the cash rate? The cash rate target from the RBA. Vote no because the RBA are gutless. It's better to say they will. Here's an interesting one from Stephen. It's better to say there will be a rate hike for mental preparedness point. Saying there won't be and then seeing a surprise rate hike can be very demoralizing, especially during uncertain financial times. Now, that's a very smart take. Preparing for the worst. I think that's a stoic answer right there. Preparing for rate hikes and being pleasantly surprised when they're not. So maybe this is the gigabrain financial Chad mood that you're all doing. Long overdue. As long as inflation is up and home prices rise, they'll tighten. They don't take house prices into account, though. They don't give a shit about house prices, or at least the previous Reserve Bank governor didn't care. So we'll have to see, everyone. But let's check out this article now. So Aussie banks agree, this is from Yahoo Finance, on an RBA rate hike, and it may not be the last. All of Australia's big 4 banks now think there will be a rate hike next month, after stubborn inflation rates refuse to drop, and it might not be the last of the year. NAB was the only bank predicting the Reserve Bank would increase the cash rate for the 13th time when they meet again on November 7th, but economists from Westpac have now joined Commonwealth Bank and ANZ in predicting Australian borrowers are in for more pain. So what's driving the backflip? The ABS announced consumer prices rose by 1.2% in the September quarter, with the higher-than-expected inflation driven by soaring petrol prices, surging power bills, and the tight rental market. Now, if the Albanese government was serious about reducing the cost of living burden that they're placing on every Australian, and they are, a significant portion of the costs of your living are in hidden taxes that you pay every day. They would reduce those. And the number one, I would argue, is the petrol excise. Reduce that, even if only temporary, to reduce the cost of living burden. And then maybe determined a strategy to remove that tax entirely. Find other ways to fund the roads. That'll have an instant impact on everyone. How many people spend money every day driving to work? They won't do it. Or maybe their greenies won't be happy with that, because then they can't lie and say that all the mining industry and fossil fuel industry gets all these huge subsidies when it's just a tax concession, because they're not using the infrastructure that warrants the tax. So I guess that, their political allies would not be able to lie anymore. So I guess that's one reason not to do it. And governments love taxes. They don't know how to stop taking them. So there's another reason they won't do it. And they don't seem to really give a shit, do they? So there's another reason. Plus, we got to be punished for voting no. That's what it is, remember? The 12 previous interest rate hikes haven't been able to take the edge off inflation. Yeah, are they? The more and more I look into this, the more and more skeptical I am of this simple one handle they have to pull to actually manipulate the economy, to manipulate inflation. We've got to wait for lower shipping prices to filter through. We've got to wait for the purchasing power of the Australian dollar to remain stronger to bring down the costs of goods. If you want to instantly reduce inflation, cut the expenses that the government is placing on people. Next paycheck, everyone has less tax. The RBA governor Michelle Bullock admitted inflation numbers were higher than the central bank were forecasting, and that surging rental costs and elevated power bills made the figures harder to get under control when grilled in Senate estimates today. Well, you know what they're going to do. Because rent's going up, they'll drive up the cash rate target. And then all the investors who have these properties will drive up their rent to kind of offset more of their costs because they can, because the vacancy rates are insanely low. That makes sense, doesn't it? You can only laugh. She'd previously said the board would not hesitate to raise the cash rate further if there is a material upward revision to the outlook for inflation, but stopped short of making a call on a definite rate rise next month. We're still analysing the numbers at the moment. I wouldn't like to say more or less likely. We're still looking at it, Bullock said. And here we go, interest rates. So, what are the big four predicting? CBA, 4.35. Everyone's 4.35. Look at this. They've got 1,957 votes in their poll, which I didn't vote in. So Yahoo's getting the same poll result or vote participants as my dodgy little YouTube channel. There you go, everyone, eh? What do you reckon? What would a rate hike mean for borrowers? So on $500,000 debt, it'll be a $76 increase a month. There you go. There's the internet. That's probably my AussieBroadband bill now. It's about $75. I've just upgraded the speed one tier up to get the upload a bit higher. There you go. I was going to say that's a carton of cigarettes, but no, it's not, isn't it? It's a pack now, isn't it? Is a pack $70? Let me know in the comments, guys, how much a pack is. I remember the last time we looked at a carton, because I only remember what it was when I was working at Woolies as a high school kid, and that's forever ago. So last time we looked, it was equal to a mortgage repayment a week. So if you smoked a carton a week, that could be rent, that could be your mortgage. Shit. These are expensive, but most of that's taxes too. It's taxes, hidden taxes. You know, you should feel guilty about these things. This is the problem with these guilt taxes. Wait till they start applying it to other stuff. We get these insane lefties on board that believe some real crazy, racist, stupid bullshit, and they'll probably find a way to tax that. On top of the 12 hikes already delivered, rates to be found, this would see borrowers... Okay, yeah, I mean... Oh, okay. This is comparing it to the 0.1% cash rate target that we had. That was bullshit. We know that's not a real rate. If you thought that was going to stay like that for 5-10 years, I don't know what the hell you're smoking or you're drinking, but come on. Borrowers have been warned they should get their heads around what a 13th rate hike would look like because it's looking more likely. They should prepare for a rate hike in November. They should. So let's let me check. Let's have a bit of a chat about this one, eh, guys? So, the financial gigachans on the channel are predicting that we will have a rate hike next month. Now, how many of you are going to be impacted by that? Can you handle that additional rate increase? I imagine the majority of the channel viewers will be okay. There will be others that maybe will need to make lifestyle changes. But this is not happening like instantly. You're having time to prepare. How high will it peak? I mean, okay, worst case, 5%. I would be quite shocked if we get 10%. That's a little crazy. You know, we don't have the same systems in place or measurements in place that they did back in the 70s and 80s, but we'll have to see. Hey, I don't think it'll happen, but I could be wrong. I think there's a lot of hopium there and people that are hoping that'll happen so they can see some significant corrections, maybe justify years of waiting outside the market, hoping for a correction as the only way to get in. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. Thank you all for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. You know how to support us. Take care, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.